This is biology in winemaking. Biology plays a crucial role in viticulture, the cultivation of grapes for winemaking. Uh, Grape biology, understanding how the growth and development of the grapevines is essential for viticulture. This includes the knowledge of grapevine anatomy, physiology, and genetics. Photosynthesis. Grapevines use photosynthesis to convert sunlight into energy, which is stored in the grapes. Hormone regulation. Plant hormones such as auxins and chitokines regulate grapevine growth and development. Root structure. Grapevine roots absorb water and nutrients from the soil, and their s- their structure affects grapes and yield quality. Leaf structure. The grape leaves are responsible for photosynthesis and transpiration, and their shape and size impact the grape's yield and quality. Flower and fruit development. Understanding the biology of the grape flower and fruit development is crucial for grape optimization. Pest and disease management. Biological knowledge is essential for managing pests and diseases that affect grapevines, such as powdery mildew and botrytis. Microbiology, microorganisms like yeast and bacteria play a vital role in winemaking, and understanding their biology is crucial for fermentation and wine quality. Soil biology, soil microorganisms and nutrients impact grapevine growth and grape quality. Ecology, understanding the ecology, interactions between the grapevines, other plants, animals, and in the vineyard ecosystem is vital for sustainable viticulture practices. This is a vineyard with the grapes fully grown in their clusters. What is enology? Enology, known as enology, is the science and study of winemaking. Enology is a distinct field from viticulture, which is the science of grape cultivation. Enologists are experts in the science of wine and the arts and techniques for winemaking. They usually work as winemakers, wine chemists in commercial laboratories and in enologic organizations. Enology is a multidisciplinary field that combines knowledge from biology, chemistry, microbiology, and food science to understand the process involved in winemaking. This is a wine cellar. Wine is used to sat here for aging. This is the timeline of winemaking from the grape harvest to getting destemmed and ready to be juiced. The yeast is added, it's fermented, pressed, and then is ready for bottling. What is fermentation? Fermentation Fermentation is the magic that turns grape juice into wine. It's all thanks to the tiny, hardworking organisms called yeast. Winemakers start the grape must, which is simply crushed grapes. This must is full of natural sugars, mainly glucose and fructose. Yeasts are single-celled fungi that love sugar. Winemakers introduce specific strains of yeast or rely on natural yeast present in the grape skins. Yeast get to work consuming the sugars in the must. Through a biological process called anaerobic fermentation, the yeast convert those sugars into two main products, ethanol and carbon dioxide. While alcohol is the star, fermentation does much more. Over 200 flavor compounds are created during this process, influencing the wine's final character. Winemakers carefully control fermentation temperature. Cool. Cooler temperatures favor lighter bodied wines with fresh fruit flavors. Warmer temperatures can produce fuller body wines with riper fruit notes. Red wines are typically fermented warmer than white wines. Different yeast strains have varying effects on the aroma profile. The type of fermentation vessel, stainless steel, oak barrels, or concrete eggs can influence a wine's character. Stages of fermentation. This is the initial burst of activity lasting 3 to 5 days. The yeast consumes most of the sugars and produces a significant amount of CO2. Secondary fermentation. This is a slower process where the yeast clean up after themselves, further influencing a wine's flavor and aroma. The importance of fermentation. Fermentation is the heart of winemaking. It not only produces the alcohol, but also shapes the wine's taste, aroma, body, and mouthfeel. By managing the fermentation process, winemakers create a vast array of styles. Bad fermentation. Bad fermentation can happen during winemaking, turning what could have been a delicious beverage into something unpleasant. Signs of bad fermentation. Instead of pleasant fruity aromas, bad fermentation can produce a vinegary, vinegary smells, rotten egg scents with hydrogen sulfide, or cheesy aromas. Stalled or sluggish fermentation. A healthy fermentation should show slow bubbling activity from CO2 release. A sluggish or stalled fermentation might indicate weak or unhealthy yeast, unpleasant flavors. The finished wine might taste harsh, sour, or off-putting. Um, temperature temperature outside the ideal range, which is usually about 70 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit, can stress the yeast, leading to sluggish fermentation. Older and properly stored yeast might not be strong enough to ferment effectively. Unwanted bacteria or wild yeast strains can take over the fermentation process, producing undesirable flavors. This is a picture of bad yeast that has molded. And prevention, using fresh yeast, maintaining the proper temperature, and sanitation to all equipment can minimize the risk of bacterial contamination. After fermentation, the wine is ready to be fined, clearing out unwanted particles, and then it is ready for bottling and storing. Thank you.